but people say, well, what's an example of being informed? How does that make you more free? Well, 3 separate times in the last 5 years, the state of Texas tried to enforce illegal, under federal and state law, transfers of major existing highways to Centra of Spain, a Spanish company that came in and bought off the legislature. This is going all over the country. But here in Austin and in Texas, they came into the Capitol, bought them off, and 3 times people filed suit, they've had demonstrations, they've protested, they've pointed out the law, and they haven't been able to put a toll road on Mopac, the second busiest road in Texas, and on I-35, and on 183 North, and on 290. I would not be able to get to my office every day without paying at least $5. And that's how they're going to, quote, start. And we've got plenty of money from the gas tax. I've looked at the numbers. They're just looting us. Just because if the public isn't informed and isn't involved, why shouldn't foreign corporations come in and take over existing roads? It's illegal to put a toll road on an existing road. But Kirk Watson, the former Austin mayor, who is a state senator, the guy that took tens of thousands of acres under the SOS plan from private property owners claiming it would be a nature preserve, turned around and built things on it, he's now trying to spearhead this again. And if people are informed and involved, we'll beat them the 4th time. And yes, they'll come back again the 5th time. But these people should be investigated. They shouldn't be able to do this over and over again. Here's another example. Utah is doing eminent domain. Over 80% of their state is federal. And under federal law, the feds aren't supposed to be able to have basically any property in this country, except for the District of Columbia and federal courthouses. But the feds grabbed the property in the last 70 years across the West, and the states were supposed to be able to then go and take it from them whenever they wanted it, and citizens were supposed to be able to, quote, go squat on it and stake a claim and get property. Another great engine of freedom and wealth is land. And people forgot about their liberties, they forgot about their freedoms, they forgot about the law. But now they've rediscovered it, and Utah is taking large portions of the land back, and it's going to the citizens. 80+%. Over 90% of Nevada is federal. Like, there's the headline, Utah plans to take U.S. land through eminent domain. Beautiful. Another example of people waking up and getting involved. Here's another example. House spokesman. And I've got another headline here. Obama spokesman says Democrats could lose House. Oh, they're going to lose it for sure, and probably the Senate. Now, if we are informed and go, wait a minute, every time the Republicans get back in, they sell us out again, we've got to make sure that true patriots get elected who are anti-globalist, pro-America, then this takeover of the House can be real. And because the public is becoming informed, every incumbent, every pro-establishment Republican or Democrat is losing in these primaries and in special elections. You've seen what happened in Massachusetts and Kentucky and Pennsylvania with Specter and Utah and Colorado and Hawaii, on and on and on, in Florida. That's an example. People get informed. They actually find out somebody's voting record, whether they're Republican or Democrat, of their establishment. If they sold out, if they flip-flopped, they're gone. Another example of being informed, Arizona discovers it's their right and duty to protect their citizens from the lawless crime wave. They stand up and say, we're going to enforce the law. This is what being awake does. Now, imagine if the LeBron James fans that by the tens of thousands went to rallies and demonstrations, some as many as 4,000 per demonstration, if they actually lobbied for, say, a Daimler Chrysler plant that they narrowly lost the bid for, they would have gotten that plant and jobs, instead of some overpaid joke who, if you break it down, brings almost no money to the economy. Because the people are starting to get their priorities straight. So we're starting to see the pendulum swing back a little bit. But the establishment's pushing back. And so everything you do right now is so vital. America and the world is at a crossroads. Every one of you is needed to get off the bench and in the game of life and to defend our republic. Is America perfect? No, but there's nothing better. And we know the globalists trying to get rid of our Bill of Rights and Constitution want tyranny. So we better try to keep our republic. Now, the fight is on. The war is on. History is taking place right now. Okay, look, I'm going to take calls until the bottom of the next hour. this segment and the next two, and then I'm going to cover news for the last 30 minutes. But let's go to calls right now. I see about 15 calls here. Who's first up? Mark in Texas, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Alex. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little upset that the Netherlands lost, though. That's all that's important. And LeBron's going to the Heat. I mean, I associate my personal destiny with a basketball player, and so I'm feeling a little depressed right now. I'm not upset about the fact that they admit we're going into a depression. I'm not upset about the fact that they're putting biometric scanners in everywhere to buy and sell. I'm not upset about the fact that our country's bankrupt. I'm just upset about LeBron James right now.
Yeah, there is so many things here. And I'm glad you said something earlier about not following you and all the talking points and not being like a robot. None of us are robots, and we're not limited. And one thing that I've been seeing a lot, and I've dug into some things, especially about the oil well. My cousin, who I've known since I was a kid, he's an older cousin, and he's worked on those wells for years. He was on the one that blew 13 days before it went off, and I've got detailed reports from him on all the ways that things worked from top on up. And I want to share that at one point, but not today.
Well, they admit that 2 months before the well had already started leaking, and that BP gave the operators, Schlumberger, Anadarko, and Halliburton, orders that they knew would cause it to blow up. And now Obama wants to get his carbon tax, and I told people 80 days ago that, and now they admit they want to get a carbon tax.
Yeah. You guys have probably got a lot of that already covered.
What's on your mind today, Mark?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. The issue of loyalty here to this Constitution, God, the idea of free rights for, the freedom that we should have and retain. These, I'm finding some examples in history here, and I'm even in countries that are not ours, but people stood up for those basic principles that our founders left.
Yeah, there's always thugs and crooks that try to take control of society. And if good people aren't involved, as George Washington said, all that evil men and tyrants need to flourish is that good men and women do nothing. And so if good people aren't involved defending their liberties, you will have them stolen.
Yeah, this fellow, Red Beckman, I think he's been on your show. I've been reading his book. A good friend of mine who worked for the CIA and resigned because he saw what they were doing gave me this thing about this born-again republic. And in this, Red Beckman mentions that he goes, we must remember that the Constitution was like a will, which was written to govern the estates of our founding fathers. A will is a law which is written to govern an individual's estate. Our founding fathers fought and won the Revolution. The people then owned the country. They were not under the fist of any government.
No, that's it, Mark. Mark, I got to jump, but great points. See, every other country had been run by a monarch, by a king up until that point. And this was a system of, we have a Bill of Rights, a Constitution, private property rights, a man's home is his castle. This is an estate for we the people in perpetuity for our posterity. Read the Declaration of Independence. We are the government. These fake Christians paid off by FEMA. Think about that, on record. 2 years before it was mainstream news and declassified, we have the secret documents that over 50,000 preachers had been secretly trained by FEMA to teach their flocks Romans 13, submit to Caesar. We are Caesar in America. Submit to the Bill of Rights. Submit to the Constitution. I appreciate your call, Mark. Real fast. Josh in California. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Worldwide broadcast. Welcome.
Hey, man, I want to tell you two things. I want to make 2 quick points and also comment on the LeBron James thing. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm engulfed with the circus that we call entertainment, and I'm leaving because it's deplorable how it is here. And I also want to make a point that my girlfriend just became a citizen. She's from Mexico, and she now is looking at it. She's thoroughly disgusted with what's going on. She can't even believe that. She said, why am I a citizen? Why did I become a citizen? I could have just gotten free health care. I could commit illegal crimes and not get in any trouble. She said, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, God bless her. We want people from everywhere who want to be Americans and want to be citizens. The issue is a lot of people coming from Mexico believe the U.S. is Mexico and believe it's a la Reconquista, and the globalists are using it as a political weapon to bankrupt the states. That's why we're so upset about it.
And I have one question for you. Do you know anything about the company Abengoa, which is the company that got the $1.8 billion, the deal with Obama?
I think that rings a bell, but you know what? I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to come back in the next hour, and we're going to have you finish up, and then we're going to get to Greg, Cliff, Jeff, Kevin, Gabby, Kyle, Dan, Timothy. Colonel Six, and others. The toll-free number to join us, 888-201-2244. And the callers are great, but just I want to get to everybody. So have your question, your comment ready. We're going to come back after a 2-minute break. Some stations don't carry that first 5 minutes. Then we'll come back in that next segment, continue with your phone calls, and we're going to get into everything. It's now mainstream news. It's not being denied. A global government treaty, a secret treaty, is being ratified right now to restrict free speech on the Internet and to tax the Internet and to tax talk radio and to shut down free speech. It's really happening, and the FCC is taking orders from the UN.